This is VOA Africa.
Good evening, I'm Esther Githu-Ewart. It's Friday, January 3rd. This is Africa 54. Iran threatens retaliation on the United States following an airstrike at a Baghdad airport that killed the top commander of its elite Quds Force. A prominent South Sudan economist and 30 others are pardoned by President Salva Kiir. And in our entertainment report, the spotlight is on Ghanaian Afropop, dancehall and reggae performer Fancy Gadam. Tension between the United States and Iran is high as Iran threatens retaliation against America for a missile attack early Friday that killed the head of Iran's elite Quds Force, General Qassem Soleimani, near Baghdad International Airport in Iraq. The strike was ordered by U.S. President Donald Trump. President Trump ordered the attack targeting Soleimani to deter, quote, future Iranian attack plans, according to a statement from the Pentagon. The statement also says General Soleimani was actively developing plans to attack the U.S. diplomats and service members in Iraq and throughout the region. The statement also revealed that Soleimani and his Quds Force were responsible for the deaths of hundreds of American and coalition service members and the wounding of thousands more. Iraqi reports say a rocket struck a convoy carrying the general and several others near the airport. At least 7 people are believed to have been killed. Anti-government protesters that gathered in central Baghdad Friday had mixed reactions to the killings of Iran's top general and senior leader of the Iran-backed Popular Mobilization Forces.
The killing of Qassem Soleimani will eliminate the corrupt parties which are destroying Iraq.
America and Iran should solve their problems outside Iraq. We do not want them to solve it inside Iraq, because this will not serve our cause. We in Tahrir Square do not celebrate the killing of Soleimani or anyone else because this will not serve us at the end of the day.
Iranian state TV reported that Foreign Minister Mohammadi Javad Zarif called the killing of Iran's top general an act of state terrorism. Speaking during an urgent meeting Friday, Zarif accused the United States of killing Soleimani because he had fought the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria, citing a Revolutionary Guard statement. Iranian state television says Soleimani was martyred in the attack. Now, U.S. Defense Secretary Mark Esper says America is prepared to take preemptive military action to prevent future attacks on U.S. forces. Esper said in a tweet Thursday, the game has changed, and we're prepared to do what is necessary to defend our personnel and our interests and our partners in the region. A U.S. airstrike last weekend targeting Kataib Hezbollah led to a 2-day standoff this week at the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad. The U.S. has deployed an additional 750 troops to the region in what Secretary Esper called an appropriate and precautionary action. Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, in a speech on state television, has denounced the U.S. attacks. Now for more on the escalating situation between the U.S. and Iran, VOA Pentagon correspondent Carla Barb is standing by live at the U.S. military headquarters in Arlington, Virginia. Hello, Carla. Carla, I hope you can hear me.
No.
Carla, explain to us, who is Qassem Soleimani?
So Qassem Soleimani is the head of the Iranian Quds Force. That is an elite branch of Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, and that branch has been responsible for foreign military operations. So Soleimani had operations going on in Lebanon, in Syria, and in Iraq. So this is a huge blow for the Iranian regime.
So, Carla, what is next for the U.S. military?
So what's next for the U.S. military? As we've already told you, the United States has deployed 750 soldiers to the Middle East from North Carolina. I am being told by defense officials that we should likely expect additional deployments in the next 24 to 48 hours. Those officials have also told me that when Soleimani was hit, there were operations underway and plans underway to conduct attacks on multiple U.S. targets. It is unclear if Iran will continue to carry out attacks on these targets. They have said that they will retaliate for the death of Soleimani, but the United States military will have to remain prepared for anything coming next and will be monitoring the situation closely.
Now, Carla, how is Iraq responding to these latest developments?
So Iraq has had an interesting response because if you recall, so Soleimani was not the only person killed in this strike. There was also an Iraqi commander of these popular mobilization forces that are Iranian-backed. And so Iran's prime minister has come out and said that this is like lighting a fuse of war. Remember, this prime minister, though, is not actually running the government. He is only in a caretaker position right now because he stepped down because of protests in Iraq about the government last year. But if you listen to the Iraqi military, so far this building says that it has not heard anyone ask them to scale down or move out of Iraq.
Carla, just wondering how the U.S. military presence is like right now, given the escalation of this situation since last week with the other strike and now what we saw last night. What is the presence like in that region?
So the United States has more than 60,000 U.S. troops in the region right now. They have an aircraft carrier. The Harry S. Truman is there on the ready. And they've brought in 14,000 additional troops since May because Iran had been carrying out attacks on Saudi Arabia and U.S. interests. So the U.S. is very well positioned to handle any sort of response that Iran may have.
Carla, what do we expect then to see in the next maybe couple of days?
Well, I do not have a crystal ball, Esther, but what I can say is that experts feel that Iran is going to retaliate. There are officials, defense officials, that have told me they also expect some sort of retaliation from Iran, but I don't think it will go as far as hitting either of the homelands. This will be something that they will try to carry out on other people's soil. Although one defense official did tell me that maybe the United States has hit Iran hard enough to where they will not strike back.
Carla, as always, thank you so much for watching this for us. We'll follow up with you when we come back on air on Monday. Carla, thank you. Carla Babb is a VOA Pentagon correspondent. Now, U.S. President Trump pledged during his 2016 presidential campaign that he would end the U.S. war in Afghanistan. But in 2019, peace talks between U.S. officials and the Afghan Taliban have been inconsistent as violence continues to take the lives of Afghan civilians and members of the U.S. military. VOA's Lina Rosby has more on the effort to end the decades-long conflict.
In February of 2019, U.S. and Afghan Taliban officials held their highest-level talks when U.S. envoy Zalmay Khalilzad met with Taliban co-founder Mullah Abdul Ghani Baradar in Doha for the first time. All parties were hopeful for a breakthrough, but the meeting ended with no result. Violence has raged on in Afghanistan, with the insurgent group refusing to announce any ceasefire until a peace deal is reached with the United States.
I think the Taliban is trying to increase its bargaining position by escalating the violence, by talking tough. Look, we've had 18 years of that. It hasn't been successful for the Taliban, although they do control large parts of the country. We've had our own period of talking tough, and Mike Pompeo said that we'd killed some thousands of Taliban in the last 10 days. But we're going to have to get back to a negotiating table at some point. I'm not sure that escalating violence on both sides is the best way to get back to the peace table.
In early September, a peace deal appeared to be imminent, but a fresh round of violence and the death of a U.S. soldier prompted U.S. President Donald Trump to suddenly call off negotiations. In the same month, U.S. envoy Khalilzad was asked to update U.S. lawmakers and the American people on the status of the talks.
I have been very loud and vocal publicly and with the president that I think the Afghan government absolutely needs a seat at the table. And if the Taliban are not willing to accept that, then that's their problem.
You know, my understanding of the process, it was relatively unilateral and one-sided, and that it needed to have more people involved rather than fewer people involved. And so I would encourage him or any, as I mentioned, any other future administration to make sure that it's more of an inclusive and holistic peace process or negotiation process. I think all negotiations are better with more people at the table.
In November, during an unannounced visit to Afghanistan, President Trump said Washington had resumed talks with the Taliban again. But they were again halted after the insurgent group launched a suicide attack on Bagram Air Base in Kabul. Khalilzad tweeted, "The Taliban must show they are willing and able to respond to Afghan desire for peace." The State Department, in response to a question from VOA, wrote that the only way to end the war in Afghanistan is through a political solution. And as 2019 came to an end, talks appeared to resume in Doha, with U.S. envoy Khalilzad also meeting with Afghan leaders in Kabul to determine a way forward. A new year arrives with the hope of a ceasefire and intra-Afghan negotiations, where Taliban and government representatives sit down to chart a political roadmap for the future of their country. Lina Rouzbeh, Voice of America, Afghanistan Service.
A Sudanese military transport plane crashed Thursday after taking off from an airport in West Darfur. 18 people were on board and were killed, according to the military. The Antonov 12 plane crashed 5 minutes after departing from El Geneina, killing its crew of 7, as well as 3 judges and 8 other civilians, including 4 children. The cause of the crash is being investigated. Dozens of inmates were released from prison in South Sudan Thursday after being pardoned by President Salva Kiir. Among those pardoned were Peter Biar Ajak, a prominent economist jailed for granting interviews to the Voice of America. Kiir says his action was a goodwill gesture to rejuvenate the country's stalled peace process. In June 2019, Ajak was sentenced to 2 years in jail for disturbing peace because he granted interviews to VOA. He was arrested in July 2018 on treason charges that were dropped early last year. Ajak has been publicly critical of the way Kiir and opposition leader Riek Machar approached peace talks to end the civil war. South Sudan State Television says a total of 31 people were pardoned. We're excited to hear what you think about Africa 54. Join the discussion on Facebook. The address is Africa 54. We're also streaming our broadcast live on Facebook. Please watch and share our show with your friends. Also check out our headlines 24/7 on voaafrica.com. Still to come, Ghanaian Afro-pop dancehall musician and dancer Fancy Gadam talks about some of the hit songs of his new album, Dream. You're watching Africa 54, and we'll be right back.
Is about more than just sitting here and talking about women's issues. It's about listening to them
and bringing their opinions to the table and making sure their voices are heard.
Because our lived experiences, our stories, and our voices will help shape the next generation.
Clara Frank, and here's what's trending. Electronics engineering graduate Huda Ben Ramthan quit a job in administration after 12 years in order to pursue her passion in snail breeding, eyeing an emerging market for the mollusks in Tunisia. Their mucus, which is rich in hyaluronic acid, collagen, and vitamin E, can be used to produce beauty products, while their meat can make a delicious meal. The price of an average snail beauty product ranges between $15 to $25. While snail meat is said to be nutritious, it is low in cholesterol and rich in proteins, making it a popular delicacy in various cultures. And in other farming news, on an industrial site near Kyoto, 30,000 heads of lettuce grow under artificial light with barely any human intervention. This vegetable factory, using the latest vertical farming techniques, is part of a trend born out of necessity in Japan, where traditional farming is threatened by the aging population and migration from rural areas. Other countries have employed the vertical farming techniques, but Japan's population crisis means the farmers are dying out, with question marks over how the world's third biggest economy will feed itself. And finally, performer Justin Bieber is opening up about his creative and personal life through a 10-part documentary ahead of a career comeback after 3 years away from the spotlight. YouTube announced on Tuesday that Bieber's first ever documentary series, Justin Bieber Seasons, will launch on the video platform on January 27th. It will chronicle the making of the Canadian singer's first album in 4 years, as well as giving fans glimpses of his private life with new wife, model Hailey Baldwin, and other family members. Bieber first found fame on YouTube as a baby-faced 13-year-old in 2007. And that's what's trending today.
The 2020 U.S. presidential election campaign will kick into high gear in January as the Democratic presidential contenders intensify their efforts ahead of the first votes in the Iowa caucuses on February 3rd. National polls show former Vice President Joe Biden leading the Democratic field, but several of his competitors are looking to make a strong showing in early contest states like Iowa, New Hampshire, and South Carolina. Here's VOA national correspondent Jim Malone.
The next president of the United States, Joe Biden.
Joe Biden has long argued that he is the Democrats' strongest candidate to take on President Trump next November.
And I know I've been criticized by some really good, decent opponents I've been running with, saying Biden's naive, talking about uniting the country. If we can't unite the country, we can't make it. We can't make it under our system.
Biden continues to lead in national polls, but faces strong challenges in early voting states like Iowa and New Hampshire from a group of contenders that includes Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren.
We want to stimulate this economy. We want an economy that grows. Then let's grow it by investing in our people. Let's put money back in their hands, not in the hands of the billionaires. We're going to do this.
Warren rose in the polls through much of 2019, but her momentum lately appears to have stalled.
Thank you so much.
One candidate who has been rising in some of the early states in recent weeks is South Bend, Indiana Mayor Pete Buttigieg.
We can galvanize and not polarize an American majority that is ready to deliver big reforms, big ideas, things we haven't thought possible in decades. If we can hold that majority together and not divide it and polarize it and let it get blown up.
Rounding out the top tier of the Democratic field is Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders, who often targets Trump at his campaign rallies.
And what our campaign is exactly the opposite of what Trump is trying to do. He's trying to divide us up. We're bringing our people together, all of us, around an agenda that works for all the American people.
Other struggling contenders are looking for a breakthrough in Iowa, including Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar, New Jersey Senator Cory Booker, and entrepreneur Andrew Yang.
As a full-service presidential candidate.
They face a crucial test once the voting begins, says analyst Larry Sabato.
So you either get votes or you don't. Nobody can explain away 1% of the vote in Iowa. it's hard to continue because your donors say, I've enjoyed being with you and best of luck for the future. That means no more money. It means you shutter the campaign.
Democrats could be in for a long nomination fight between moderates looking for the strongest candidate to take on Trump and liberals who demand sweeping economic and social change. Vanderbilt University expert Thomas Schwartz.
The energy in the Democratic Party is more on the left than the moderates like Biden, so it could be, we could have a very polarizing election.
Former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg was a late entrant into the Democratic field, but he has already risen into the high single digits in recent polls after spending millions of dollars on television ads. Jim Malone, VOA News, Washington.
It's time for an entertainment report with Music Time in Africa host Heather Maxwell. Hello, Heather.
Hi, Esther.
Can't wait to hear all about Fancy Gadam.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. For the past few weeks, I've been bringing you fresh music, videos, and interviews from Ghana, following an exciting visit to that country in December. Well, I've got another one for you today. Meet award-winning Afro-pop dancehall musician and dancer Fancy Gadam. Now, Fancy just released his new album, Dream, and here we are inside Diamond FM 93.7 radio station with host Original Soundboy and others, where Fancy breaks down 3 of his songs off this album.
My name is Fancy. The name is Fancy Gadam. And the meaning of my name is Fancy Me.
Oh, so everybody Fancy Gadam.
People they talk say you do bad, they make that money. My brother forget oh. Others they talk say you know suffer, make that money. They must be confused.
You're talking about money. I think what you're saying is don't be mad at me if I'm making a lot of money.
Yes, it is part of it.
Okay.
You know, when some people struggle to make money, people will not ask as to how they do, how they manage to make the money.
Make the money.
So people that go into bad things to make money. Meanwhile, you don't know how the person starts. The person has been suffering. You don't know. If you don't know my story, how can you judge me? You understand? And I'm telling the people that whatever you are doing, concentrate and focus. You are going to make it in life. Just work hard. One day, one day it will be okay. Go follow me. You go follow me. Basa. Skrrr, gaga. Gadam. Gadam fancy. Feel my melody. I don't suffer day like suffer. Just to make that paper. If I don't make money, wala. Move it to play me tire like FIFA.
Is it connected to your own personal story? I don't know your personal story.
Yeah.
Can you share something about that? The bare bones of it?
Yes, you know, that is why I named this album Dream. Looking at, everybody has a dream. When I was growing up, I was a dancer. I was dreaming to be a superstar.
Yeah.
Everybody has a dream that tomorrow he wants to be somebody. You understand? And I'm telling them that your dreams will come true. Put me as an example. Fancy Gadam, who was on the street dancing from Adori every occasion. Even if they don't call me, I come and play for free. But now you can't call Fancy Gadam for free. Oh yeah. Superstar now, you have to pay money.
Exactly. Heather Maxwell all the way from VOA and Fancy Gadam in the studios. Beautiful interview. I'm enjoying myself. Yeah.
I am too.
Yeah.
Can we listen to another song from the new album?
Let's go into the local dialect. Let's play Biar Bani.
Biar Bani.
Ni. Biar Bani.
93.7.
So it simple means I want somebody who can fight for the love. Like you guys, both of you love each other.
Right.
But your parents are saying they are not in support. So for that matter, this relationship has to break up. You understand? Somebody who would do anything just to maintain the love. Somebody who would do anything to maintain the relationship between you and your lover. No matter what, even your mother, your father can't even come in between you guys.
So that's what you want?
That's what I want.
Fighting for your love.
That's powerful.
Biar Ajak, power of love. Let's play Stoneboy, Fancy Gadam featuring Stoneboy. Best friend.
That is what you do for me. I don't go freak out and more. Sacrifice what you do for me. I don't go free say I'm more. Although my girl know they like I'm more, but I don't go free sack I'm more.
She's just your friend, but she love and care more than the one you are even dating.
Oh,
that's what I'm talking about.
Got it. Then she should be more than just a friend.
No, she's just.
I mean, do you really even believe that?
Come on.
Nation, goddamn nation.
Yeah, and that was some highlights from my recent interview with Fancy Gadam at Diamond FM Radio in Tamale, Ghana. You can watch the entire interview on my YouTube channel, Music Time in Africa, or listen on my radio show online at voaafrica.com. And that's our entertainment segment for today. Back to you, Esther.
Thank you so much, Heather. That was fantastic. Be sure to join Heather Maxwell again next Friday for another exciting entertainment segment right here on Africa 54. And that's our show for today. Be sure to watch Africa 54 on our website at voaafrica.com. From all of us here in Washington, have a great weekend.